And that stem cell bill, a hot topic for our political experts today. Here's Scott Mitchell with your vote counts.
The activity on stem cell research, embryonic stem cell research, veto override in the House. You joined with the majority to override the governor's veto. Now the question is, by the way, thanks to all the first-time viewers from the governor's office who want to hear this answer. Why did you? It was a party. It was really kind of Democrats usually wanted to override this thing, right? You didn't.
Well, no, I didn't. The 5 years I've been out at the Capitol, this has been the most difficult vote I've ever had to cast. You know, Randy, they pay us the big dollars and to go out there and make tough decisions, and I did it today. I weighed all the evidence. I took my faith, my district, and the scientific contradicting evidence from both sides. And in the final analysis, I did what I thought was right, and that is to vote to prohibit embryonic stem cell research. I think it was the right thing to do. I stand by my convictions. It was difficult. I don't need to apologize for the governor because hopefully on other issues we'll be on the same side.
Okay, the Senate did not override the governor's veto, but why do you think that Richard's vote to override was the right vote?
Listen, Richard, I think that is absolutely the best answer I've heard him give in the years that we've been doing this show. It was absolutely the correct decision. These merchants of death, and I'm talking about the chambers of commerce, who are supporting the governor's veto of this ban on embryonic stem cell research ought to be ashamed of themselves. The reason it's the correct vote is for three reasons. First one, it's the morally correct thing to do. When we're talking about embryos, we're talking about creating life and then destroying it for economic gain. That's wrong. Number two is the science is bad. The movement is toward adult stem cell research, not embryos. And the third reason, Scott, is this exploits women, particularly poor women, because those stem cells have to come out of embryos that are purchased from somebody.
And by the way, you weren't hiding in your office or hitting the door on this, so we salute you on the...
And they're for people who were.
How you did it, we appreciate what you did, even though people are going to disagree with what you did. Many are. Right. So let's turn to the next. We talked about these dominoes last week. The next domino, official English. I read the story in the paper this morning. I'm confused. What has happened on official English? A deal has been cut, right?
A deal has been cut on official English, and in fact, it will be going to the voters for their approval in 2010 to decide whether or not they want to make English the official language of the state of Oklahoma. It was a compromise between our bill, which is HDR 1042, that's the one that passed through, and we'll accept those Senate amendments in the House next week, and Senator Patrick Anderson's bill, which was Senate Bill 1156. This bill does recognize the fact that English is our common and unifying language, but the important part, Scott, is it says all official business of the state has to be conducted in English, and nobody can sue a state agency if we don't give them documents in languages other than English.
No Farsi lawsuits?
No Farsi.
Okay, let me ask you this. We take this to a little bit of a different direction. This official English deal was playing into the politics in the Senate because the more moderate Republicans didn't want his bill. The more conservative Republicans did. Is Senator Coffey's, the English compromise, official English compromise, help Senator Coffey in the Senate?
Yes, I think it does. What it does is it moves away from the issues that have been concerning Senator Coffey and his behavior as far as taxes and money and all that kind of stuff. So it does. It helps him a lot. Representative Terrell has got the most energy on this issue. He's the most focused, and he understands it the best. This is going to go to a vote of the people, and it's going to pass. Now, those folks that are against this question, you'll have the opportunity to campaign against it. It'll be a fair fight. But I suspect that the polls are correct, and I think they are, that at least the majority, 80% of Oklahomans are probably going to vote yes on that question.
Now, the third cog we talked about last week, which was lawsuit reform. Senator Coffey brings up the caps on attorney's fees yesterday. It does not pass. I suppose they'll be bringing that up again. And this turns into abortion politics. I mean, there were people, the Chambers of Commerce, you called them that interesting moniker a while ago. Lawsuit reform, where are we now that there's been an official English deal done?
Well, I think it really gums things up as far as those proponents of lawsuit reform. Now, one of the theories is that the Republicans really don't want lawsuit reform because if you pass lawsuit reform, it no longer becomes a political position paper to put in campaigns. But in any event, there were two moderate Republicans over in the Senate that apparently tied everything up here. Lawsuit reform is bad for at least two reasons. It hurts children and it hurts our seniors. I'm having a hearing on April the 30th on nursing homes and the horrible care that we give our seniors, and caps on pain and suffering will hurt our seniors.
Lawsuit reform in wake of the official English settlement.
Well, listen, I want to be clear about this. There are two different lawsuit reform measures that we're talking about. The one that failed last night in the state Senate were caps on attorneys' contingency fees. There were actually 3 Republicans that defected on that particular vote to bring it down to defeat. The other one is the bill that include hard caps on recovery that both Richard and I have expressed some concern about, as has Wes Bledsoe, by the way, who is Oklahoma's #1 nursing home advocate for the patients who are in those nursing homes. And by the way, Scott, I gotta tell the viewers here that it's absolutely atrocious, that editorial that was in the Daily Oklahoman attacking Wes Bledsoe. I used to think the Death Star was over at 63rd and Western. I'm convinced it's at Britton Road and Broadway Extension today.
It was a cheap shot.
It was a cheap
All
shot.
right, now, we've got to tell you this. Hillary Clinton is no longer in love with Dick Cheney. Take a look.
Are you in favor of releasing the documents that Dick Cheney has been requesting be released?
Well, it won't surprise you that I don't consider him a particularly reliable source of information.
This is an issue we're going to be talking about for weeks, the issue of torture. First, the leak of those confidential memos about the torture that was used by the Bush administration to get these al-Qaeda folks to talk. Now we have people talking about, Senator Leahy from Vermont, talking about going back and prosecuting people. This is going to be a nasty, partisan, nasty thing, isn't it?
Well, it absolutely is. They're going to keep dredging up the past and trying those folks. Listen, the leak of these memos, or actually the authorization, the release of the memos, is absolutely outrageous. It's made us less safe, not more safe. And in fact, this other things that the Obama administration has done, eliminating references to the war on terror, enemy combatants, going over and apologizing for America when we have nothing to apologize for, bowing to the King of Saudi Arabia, hugging Hugo Chavez. He might as well kiss Fidel Castro. I am very concerned for the future of America. A 9/11 attack may happen again.
The administration
nasty, right?
is young, and they'd make him. I read the memos. I don't think they should have been released. Let's see what happens.
Okay, we'll be talking about it for weeks. Back to you.